Alright, day 29 of the 30-day challenge to vlog every day. It's again another kind of late vlog session, but better late than never. Almost made it 30 days. Finally finished my advanced open water course today, so that's all done. That was a lot of fun. We did five dives in total, and now I can dive down to 30 meters. We saw a lot of really cool stuff. Saw a shark last night, and today we did two really cool dives during the day. Nice weather, pretty good visibility, awesome coral, a lot of cool fish. Um, it's it's such a fascinating world underneath the ocean. Um, Tomorrow we'll finally have a day off, and Chris and Sam I think are wrapping up their course for the open water. So in the afternoon or evening we'll be able to actually have some downtime. The day after we'll probably go explore a little bit. Just got back from some live music, so that's good. The topic today will be on cryptocurrency. I've been meaning to do one on crypto for the last 30 days, but there's always other ideas that come up, and it's kind of a tough topic to describe, but the short of it is like, cryptocurrency has this kind of connotation to it, has this like taboo to it today because, the market like irrationally spiked and then went back down, and people always think of crypto as like a horrible investment because of the volatility and all this stuff. And I had a video probably in the first 5 days of the challenge to which I was talking about like risk and reward, but high risk, high reward, low risk, low reward. Makes sense to take high risks while we're young, but it also makes sense to play the long game as well because we have a lot of time on our side. But at a fundamental level, like what is money? What does it mean to give a dollar to somebody? What does it mean to give a bot to somebody? What does it mean to work for a bot or a dollar or a peso or a euro or pound or whatever it is? Um, Basically, what it is trust, right? When you give someone else a dollar, or you work for a dollar, you're doing it because you believe that that dollar is worth something else to somebody else because they believe the same thing you believe. So when I give a dollar to somebody, they accept that dollar for whatever they're giving me in return because they believe that that dollar will be able to be spent somewhere else because someone else believes it, right? And it's as I said in a previous video, it's like intersubjective. It works because everybody believes it, but all it is a belief, right? Like money is a belief system and it's based on trust, right? Like a counterfeit dollar, unless you don't know it, if you know it's counterfeit, then you don't trust it. If you don't know it's counterfeit and you accept it like a normal dollar because you believe it to be a true dollar, right? Now, we trust that governments and institutions and most people are giving us a legitimate dollar and not a fake dollar. Now, how is a dollar printed? How does a dollar come into creation? A dollar is basically printed by the Federal Reserve, right? And it's not backed by anything. It used to be backed by gold, but it's not backed by anything now. So it can be printed out of thin air. And what do governments do when they want to regulate monetary policy? They print money and fluctuate interest rates. Now, when they print money, it causes inflation. And inflation is a necessary thing in economics, right? Because if there's so many variables here, but inflation is important. We'll just keep it at that. Now, what is cryptocurrency? Why is cryptocurrency important? Cryptocurrency basically creates trust, creates digital scarcity, creates digital trust. Now, it's super volatile, so it's not used the same way a dollar would be used. But here's a story that like got me kind of interested in it and is what kind of shows the utility of it. So let's say you're a Filipino and you're working in Dubai, you're working in another country. You make money in another country, and then you want to send money back home to the Philippines, right, to your family, or to save it in a bank or whatever it is. Well, when you do that, what typically happens is a company like Western Union comes in and they'll take between 8 and 12% on average of your money. Now, let's say you're a Mexican working in America and you want to send money back home to your family in Mexico, you do that typically via something like TransferWise. They take between 8 and 12% because they're doing this cross-border transaction. Well, that whole industry, it's the remittance industry, is worth about 40, at least as of a couple of years ago, it was worth about $40 billion a year. And that's $40 billion a year, so that's about 8 to 12% of about a $400 billion market. Now, something like crypto, like Bitcoin, or like there's a lot of different variables here, but something like crypto allows you to send money across the world to anyone in the world virtually for free, with the guarantee or the trust that you're going to receive the amount of money that you sent. So in theory, if you, in any of these situations of remittance, if there's an exchange in Dubai where you can take the money that you earned and buy Bitcoin, send the Bitcoin to an exchange in the Philippines and sell it without too much variability in the price, you basically can send that money anywhere around the world for free, or for, let's say, 1% or less than 1%. That's really powerful. That automatically makes the utility of Bitcoin a $40 billion industry at a minimum, right? Not counting all the other potential that people are speculating on and how it could affect remittance. Like if there was less fees, there would be a lot more remittance. One of the reasons why people don't remit so much money is because the fees are 8 to 12%. And this isn't just 8 to 12% of anything. It's 8 to 12% of people in the world who need it the most. Like, so there's a lot of utility there. Now, there's the most common thing that people talk about with crypto is, oh, it's too volatile. Like, why would any business accept crypto? It's too volatile. Well, there's a lot of companies on the internet that will handle the volatility for you. So there's companies like BitPay, where if you want to accept crypto on your website, you can guarantee that the amount of crypto that you buy or that you receive as a payment, it can instantly be converted to, let's say, dollars. Let's say I want US dollars. I want to make sure that when I sell a $10 item, I get $10 in my bank account. But people can pay with the equivalent of $10 of Bitcoin. BitPay, a company like BitPay will take that $10 worth of Bitcoin, send it to you, sell it, take a fee of like 1%, and then give you the remaining amount, like, so whatever is $9.70 or whatever the fee is. Now, that makes a heck of a lot more sense than just accepting something like Visa or MasterCard that take between 2, 3, 5% of every transaction, every dollar that people spend through a credit card. Now, there's a lot of interesting stuff to be said here, but you see how like every airline in America or every mall in America wants to give you a credit card? One of the reasons why that is because Visa and MasterCard and these other credit card processing companies, they basically take, because they take 3%, they'll go to these, any other company, like an airline or a mall or big private company, a bank, and they'll say, if you give a credit card to these people, we'll split the 3% with you. So you take 1.5%, we take 1.5%, right? So the incentive of these companies is to give you credit cards and have you spend money on them. Visa and MasterCard walk away with 1.5%, and then that private company like American Airlines walks away with 1.5%. Now, because so many of these companies have realized that this is super, super profitable, they do this, right? That's why there's so many bonuses for credit card signups, even though you're not paying any interest. Or a lot of people may pay interest, and that's how they make money. But I've heard a stat, I think this is like 2 or 3 years ago, but a company like American Airlines makes more money off of their credit cards and the money that people spend on them, because they get 1.5% of every dollar people spend on their credit cards, than they make off the profit of airlines. Because airlines actually have profit margins of like 1 to 3%. So these airlines are making more money off of giving credit cards to people than they are off of actually flying people. Now, that's crazy that there's people that are like, there's companies that are sitting around and taking 1 to 3% of every dollar that people spend. And this is the thing that makes crypto interesting, that a lot of people don't get, is that like removing these big entities that are put in place, like whether it's a big bank that we trust or whether it's a big credit card company that's sucking out 3% of every dollar that we transact with, crypto can help solve these problems, right? But the only way it'll work is if everybody believes it. And that's the tricky part, and that's the reason that it hasn't become mainstream, because only money only works when people believe it. And there's a lot of people who believe in crypto. Sure, there's like tons of utility. It's being used on a wide scale basis for a number of reasons, and I just mentioned a couple here, but um, crypto is definitely something that could radically change the world, or something like crypto, and that's the reason why so many people are speculating on it. And it, regardless of what the price is, there's no question it has a lot of utility. Um, and yes, it's a high risk game to play by investing into crypto, but it also has a potentially super high reward like anything, right? Like it's purely speculative. But the reason why the value has fluctuated and the reason why the value has gone up so much is because people are speculating that's actually going to be worth something. It's going to be worth a lot. And the reason why so many people are speculating that's going to be worth a lot is because a lot of smart people realize that there is huge potential there. It's not just people like blindly going out and doing stuff. There's a reason why there's so many people who believe this. So I'll leave it at that for now. I'm going on 11 minutes here, but that's the short of my opinion on crypto. I'm super optimistic about what crypto can do for the world and the long-term effects of crypto, and I think it's like purely a net positive for the world. Um, so yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll see you all tomorrow for day 30.